To be honest, I love books, especially art books. I'm a big collector. I have more than 2,000. I collect everywhere I go in the world. I meet artists. I buy artist books, BDs, mangas, special zines, for example. But I have many other type as well. But you know, maybe the younger generation is not really like anymore the paper format. They are going to use, you know, Insta, TikTok, whatever platform they have. Or they use. What do you think? Is still room for art books?
Well, I think there is. It's like we call it niche in French. It's a really small bubble in this super digital area, I guess. There's a lot of people keep the paper object as a way of transmitting their work, and we also see a lot of digital artists that's still in the process of making new things, finished by printing stuff, because they see how it can help them share their work in a different way, whereas everyone is doing digital now, and having, I don't know, even a frame prints on a wall, or a book that is sold in bookstores, it reach out to another type of people. So I guess it's still important, but less and less people are doing it for sure.
Do you think it will be an infinite thing?
I think it's gonna diminish a lot, but it will still be something super important for artists to make books. It's just gonna be less than it used to be.
Okay, let's talk about a little the Accidents Book Fair, which was in Cité des Arts in the center of Paris. I was there on Sunday and it was really crowded. Many people were there, a lot of people walked around and discovered the thing. Do you think it was a success, or are you expecting more people? Yeah,
it was a success. It was the second edition. The first one was in a bar and was just a one-day fair. So I'll say it's kind of a step up, massive step up compared to what we envisioned at first, as it is just a friendly project at first, and then we get on a bigger thing when Cité des Arts asked us to put up the fair during Paris Photo. That also implied a lot more of attention due to the super massive event that is Paris Photo, that brings a lot of people to Paris. And we were really surprised by the people that come up, waiting outside. A lot of people, I think the publisher were happy too.
How international was that? Because Paris Photo is definitely very international.
I don't really know for visitors, but there was a lot of foreigners. And also the first time we got international publisher too, so that also might have bring a lot of other people that used to come to fairs in Paris.
There was a lot of type of books there, like experimental ones. There was even one which was not a book but a mobile app. I think there was one, let's say, bigger publish house.
So yeah, it's a mix of everything that we found really interesting, to have a zine publisher next to a bigger publisher that do books for a lot of time, and then with art cover books, and then on the side just a guy saying, oh, I just like this thing, I'll make a 12 pages book on it. And that brings also the whole spectrum of what is art book, I guess. So that was an interesting thing.
Do you have favorite type of
I really like both. I'm more into making my own books, so I relate more to people that do everything by themselves, in a way as is it super personal. So I will say I'm more into the zine kind of thing. But I really appreciate people that make the means behind to highlight some artistic practice by doing bigger books, also books that are seen easier. They are like sent to bookstore all around the world, and I guess that is also super important. Whereas zine will stay in kind of a bubble, and people will maybe not have the means to export it and then make it seen somewhere else. That's also why we do book fair with also zine artists, that allows them to show their work, whereas they will not send books to other countries because it's like a really small print run, or they don't have the means to, you know, send super expensive postal to bookstores.
Yeah, for me, zine is more like a bit literature because sometimes it's not the picture what is the most important in a zine, but the text. When I look around here, it's of course more visual, so it's about visual artists. But can you imagine that maybe someone from literature producing a zine, which is still contact of visualization, can participate also?
Yeah, I wish we could, and it's also a project where we ask people to apply for a table or a space. So it also depends on the people that relate to what we propose. So I'd say maybe we need to open up a bit and see what kind of other fields we can bring to the fair, but also exhibition and stuff like that can be nice. Not just people selling their stuff, but also showing maybe old publishers or artist books that are not really for sale, or a thematic that will bring different various projects together. So yeah, there's many things to do yet.
In Cité des Arts is a good place definitely, and very international, and a lot of people go. Do you had artists from there as well to participate in?
Yeah, they got a table. Yeah, they had a table. Not all the artists got a book practice, so I think it was a selection of 5 or 6 artists that were in residency at the time that put up a table and showed up work. And we wanted to put up like workshops and stuff because they got graphic screen printing installation and engraving, but it was too much work for now. So it might be an idea for next year, the year after.
It was a bit strange for me in October coming to Paris and see that FIAC is not exist anymore, but it's bought by Art Basel, which is a big name in the market, of course, and with a lot of money. So my question is, maybe a bit painful. That can you imagine that someone just come and saying that, okay, I give you, I don't know how many euro and
well, we don't really do this for money, so I guess the question is not really the same for us.
Yeah, that's what
we don't really want to get money from it. It's just really a fun friend project at first, and we get all our practice on the side. Mathilde is a bookshop owner, Stéphane is a photographer, Josephine is an artist, Pauline got also a bookstore in Bordeaux, and I got the print shop here. So we all kind of live without this, and it's just a way of working together at a certain point in the year and putting up this. So I guess, well, yeah, not really related to any money offers that can alter our way of doing things.
When I look around here in the bookshop, I see only, well, let's say, close to artist publications, and you don't have the normal bookshop books like, I don't know, Susan Sontag was recently appeared, or any other art book. Mm-hmm. And this is because you are strict to that your visitors must be interested in art, or it's just
but it's also because we focus on the technique we use for printing, for at least the bookshop here, that is Riso printing. So it's already a small area where mainly artists that do visual art, like comic book or painting, illustration, do. So that's also a point. And depend also on the people that we meet that do these techniques. And most of the time they kind of offer this kind of work. So I'd say it's a default choice. And also we do a small selection. We get a really small space. So we really pick a few projects every month. And we only take 3 to 5 units, books to sell, and then we go on with other artists or publishers.
If you want to talk about maybe a favorite piece or favorite book?
I'll say this one. I'll pick it up there.
Okay.
It's from a French artist called Lisa, and it's kind of a travel book. She spent 2 months in Canada, mm-hmm. and it's a good, it's like a diary without being a diary, with all the image, drawings and text she wrote during her travel. She backpacked, she biked, she walked, she did everything, and I think it's kind of a good in-between between I'll say a normal book and an artist book, because there is still a work, but it's made in a way that even people that don't really relate to art book can, emphasize on the journey she took. So I'll say it's nice. And I was quite involved because I did the printing and the graphic design, so it was kind of a good way of collaborating with an artist. So I'll say this one was cool. But there's so many books I could talk about for a lot of time.
Yeah, actually that reminds me an exhibition in, maybe it was in Le Wonder, definitely in the outskirts of Paris. There was an exhibition about the artist's time. And the thesis is that the artist must work all the time if he or she is a real artist. So it's not an 8-hour job. You can stop and well, I don't know, going to play football or whatever.
Yeah, it's more than just a job. It's what you are, I guess. So it's not restricted by working hours and contracts. So I think when you need to do something, you do it, whereas it takes 2 hours or 3 months. But I guess also more free of mind. Artists can just spend 2 months without doing anything and then spend 6 months working 100 hours a week. It's the free spirit of artists, I guess. It's unrestrained by normal way of thinking and doing things. I guess also problematic because if it goes well, you get a lot of money, but if it's kind of art, then you don't really get paid well. You can just work for nothing, and it can lead to problematic situation where you get disgusted by your, not disgust, but it's really hard to keep up with your art if aside from this you don't really get recognized for it. But it's not really a need, it's more like getting known. It's all about network. So I guess it's not the same way as the job where people get needs and then you're just an answer to these needs.
Well, actually many people in Paris are struggling with the living because it's getting more and more expensive city because of many people coming and the prices. I mean the prices for a flat it's
getting higher and higher. So yeah. Yes. But there's a lot of people moving from Paris. Paris being still the center of attention for a lot of things, business, in art especially. A lot of people are moving from Paris. South of France, in Marseille, for example, there's a lot of people going there because it's cheaper, easier to live, warm all year long. So it's kind of nice. But I say still Paris. They come back to Paris for exhibition. It's the focal point. So people it's easier now. In 3 hours train, you can travel France. So it's not really the same problematic that the US or maybe other countries. I guess it will keep going like that because it's too focused on Paris. And there's so many nice cities.
Yeah, one of my friends actually decided to move from Paris to let's say the outskirts.
Yeah, suburbs. Yeah.
Suburb. Yeah. So because it's much cheaper and with the area you can.
Yeah, and you get bigger space, greener space, and it's quieter. And then I come from the suburbs, so I relate. But I don't want to. It's kind of an in between countryside and city life, so you don't really get appeasing environment, but it's still a lot of buildings, roads, and stuff like that, and you don't have the activity and the cultural effervescence in French, I don't know in English, that you get in like big cities. So it's kind of in between.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.